former Senator Scott Brown it has a huge lead over Ed Markey for John Kerry's seat in Massachusetts. So that's good news for him, but it turns out that he might have destroyed his image over the weekend because he was on Twitter basically responding to possible trolls, people who are criticizing him. You guys get the picture. So that's what Twitter's for. People criticize you on a regular basis. And it's a really difficult thing to deal with once in a while. Let's say you're in a bad mood, maybe you've had a few drinks and you're thinking like, I'm gonna respond, I'm gonna tell them how I really think. And that's exactly what Scott Brown did. So here are some of the responses. Whatever, Michael. Whatever, bud, to another commenter, and then finally another whatever, which it's always the strongest argument, by the way.
No, that's awesome. Okay, now look, let's break this down. First of all, here's a guy who was a U.S. Senator, barely lost to Elizabeth Warren. I mean, by the end, it was a significant margin, but it looked like it was going to be a close race. And the Ed Markey race, we don't know that he's definitely going to run against Ed Markey, but he's got this giant lead, likely to be a U.S. Senator again if the polls are right and he doesn't blow it. He's sitting on Twitter writing whatever, bud, but if you're gonna don't respond. If your response is going to be whatever, and you're a former U.S. senator and possibly future U.S. senator, don't write anything. It's unbelievable.
I know that there are certain rules when you're an elected official or former elected official and you're attempting to get reelected for something. So I get the rules, right? With that said, I don't give a shit about the rules, right? Like, I give him a massive pass on this. So, first of all, people are, of course, allowed to criticize him. But should he respond if he feels the need to respond? Definitely. Was his response weak sauce? Definitely. I wish he had, like, better responses, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I wish he got a little more fiery. But like whatever is the weakest possible thing, I'm going to give him a pass. It's not that big of a deal. Anyway, finally we realized that he might be drunk because one of his tweets was that.
Whatever. All right, now look, people misspell things on Twitter all the time. But again, you're not a regular schmo, okay? You didn't just get, and why are you sending it in the first place? Look, in the beginning, as I'm reading through the tweets, I wasn't sold that he was drunk. By the time we got to Bqhatevwr, I was sold. I think that there's some chance that he was a little intoxicated. And now here comes the fun part. Realizes in a panic, oh my God, I've done something wrong. Deletes all the emails. You know what this reminded me of? Like a friend of mine got drunk in college.
Yeah.
You know, as every time he'd get bitter at this girl that broke up with him, and then he'd write her a note. And he'd be like, all right, bitch. Okay? You're like, don't do it, dude. Don't do it, right?
Sometimes it's tempting, man.
No, but it gets better.
Yeah.
I know. Then he'd take all the things that she ever gave him, like teddy bears and memorabilia, and he'd throw it into a box. And then he'd go and put it by her door and be like, you did that. Whatever, bud. And then he'd wake up in the morning and be like, oh shit. And in a panic, he'd run over to her place and grab it before she woke up and got it.
That's what
Scott Brown. What Scott Brown's doing. He's trying to delete it, but except on the internet, you can't delete anything. It exists forever. Of course, they screen captured it. In fact, deleting it is basically saying, "Oops." Like, whereas he could have played it off like, and then they asked him, "Hey, why did you send these tweets?" He could have been like, "Whatever, bud." Which would have been funny.
That would have been funny. Yeah, I hate when they delete it. But, you know, thankfully he didn't say that he got hacked or anything like that. So, anyway, dude was born in like 1959, literally. That was the year that he was born. And this is how he handles situations, which I find kind of funny.
The funny thing is, a lot of people think, like, born in 1959, like, not young, but like, no, Scott Brown's considered young. You view 1959 as ancient, right?
No, it's not that I view it as ancient. Look, I was born in '86, so I consider myself a little more mature than him. Like, if I'm going to go out of my way to respond to someone on Twitter, which I often do, by the way, a lot of times I do respond to critics. I want to be a smartass. Like, I want to have something funny, you know? Like, I'm not just going to give them a whatever, because that just shows them you're annoyed, and then it further proves their point that you're weak sauce.